Ladies and gentlemen, when CNN is backing Donald Trump, you know that there's some kind of huge revelation in the news. Yahoo! Jake Tapper says Durham report is devastating for the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Daily Beast, Tapper claims Durham report devastating. Mediaite, Jake Tapper, Durham report pretty damaging for the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Fox News, CNN's Jake Tapper says Durham report devastating for the Federal Bureau of Investigation's findings do exonerate Trump. And so here's the cope and here's the response from Democrats, even former agents, Federal Bureau of Investigation agents on Twitter. I don't have Twitter, okay? I don't have Facebook. I have my 3 channels. This one you're watching, over 204,000 subs. Hit subscribe right now. But you can see what's going on Twitter. And they keep on making this really absurd, stupid claim. And they say, oh, Manafort, guilty. Papadopoulos, Flynn, all these people, guilty, guilty, guilty. They were never guilty of what they were accused of in the media. They were never, nobody from Trump to anyone that was convicted of allegedly lying to a government agent was ever guilty of what they were accused of, namely working with another country to interfere in 2016. That was a complete absurd fantasy. It never happened. So they got people on lesser crimes, process crimes. They leveled an investigation. They began a gigantic, enormous, all-encompassing Byzantine labyrinth of an investigation based on faulty intelligence, just like what we've seen in the past. Intel coming up with these huge reports that aren't true. We've seen it from the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s. So we've seen these intelligence reports that turn out to be just complete nonsense, getting us into never-ending military conflict. And in this case, the intelligence showed us that, Trump, there was reason to be suspicious. We know from the Durham report now, not only was there never any reason to be suspicious of Trump, but it was completely fabricated at the behest, and in many ways because Clinton, his direct political rivals, influenced the United States government. You had Democrats, you had an outgoing Democratic administration in President Obama's administration investigating an incoming Republican administration. And they did so with outgoing intel assessment, the out chiefs from the intel community of an outgoing administration saying an incoming president had ties to another country. None of this was true. Literally none of it was true. And the Democrats have greater ties to that country than Trump ever did. Clinton, Bill, and Hillary. Bill Clinton met with you-know-who at his house outside of Moscow. Literally met with him, according to Newsweek and The Hill, while the uranium deal was going down. Trump never did that, okay? They had a huge story on Hunter, and at Laptop we're finding out all of this information about people within the IRS and Central Intelligence, and they're turning on Hunter, and it's a huge thing now. And I mean, impeachment, and you have indictments linked to the Durham probe now because of all the information. We're going to get that in a second, but impeachment's just right around the corner, and then you have 2024. Impeachment's going to take place before 24. Why do you think Trump backed Kevin McCarthy? It wasn't because they're friends. Okay, think about that for a second. Why do you think Marjorie Taylor Greene and Donald Trump and other supporters of President Trump backed Kevin McCarthy initially? Okay, the real reason is because Kevin McCarthy almost certainly promised impeachment, which from the emails within the New York Post reporting that are found in Hunter's laptop, these are felonies. There's no rebuttal to the email stating How can you use your influence on the company's behalf? There is no equivalent evidence when it comes to Trump. You have an email literally asking Hunter for his to influence Joe or people within the U.S. government. And then you have the money flow and the money transactions and the financial history that point to that email being a felony. Okay? I'm not making this up. It's within the New York Post reporting, and it correlates directly to the shady and suspicious activity reports within the financial institutions. Then you have the Durham probe that talks about what Trump was accusing all of those people of doing is true. So getting back to what we, like when they say Manafort guilty, and like you have like 6 or 7 people in the Durham probe, in the Mueller probe. Okay, none of these people worked with Trump, and nor did Trump ever work with anyone to influence 2016 to show the world that Bernie Sanders was cheated in the DNC primary. So the whole purpose of Russia interfering in 2016 was apparently to show everyone through the DNC emails that Bernie Sanders was cheated, thus forcing Debbie Wasserman Schultz to resign. Okay, you can go back. I live in 2016. We all live in 2016, actually. This country has never moved beyond 2016 because Democrats never accepted their loss. And so they created this alternate universe where now almost half the electorate chooses Trump, a little more than half the electorate chooses Democrats, or mashed potato brains 2 years ago. And we're stuck in this kind of Democrats at the same time believe that they were wronged in 2016 because another country got the DNC emails to show that they were, to actually prove that they were cheating their own candidate in Bernie Sanders. This was a plot by another country to help Trump, even though the DNC, the campaign emails show they were elevating Trump. So, and within the Durham probe report, what Trump was accusing all of these specific agents of doing is true. So, unlike what they were guilty, unlike what they were doing with Trump, okay? Unlike what they were doing, which was accusing him of things he didn't do, Trump was accusing them of things that they did against him, and he was right. The Durham probe exonerated. That's why Jake Tapper backed Trump. Okay? And look, CNN routinely does everything possible not to back Donald Trump. When you get CNN on your side, it's like, oh my God. It would be the equivalent of Newsmax, not even Fox News, because Fox News doesn't really support Trump. But it would be the equivalent of like Newsmax or like Marjorie Taylor Greene saying, yeah, Trump was wrong. So when Trump was saying they were after me, it's true. They were after him. They made up. This type of thing is dangerous for democracy. That word dangerous, Democrats use media, they use all the time for just opinions, viewpoints that they don't like, that they somehow tie to some deranged person doing something without any direct evidence. But this actually, when you level the United States government against your political rival, which is what they did with Trump, and then when Trump started the Durham probe, they said, oh my God, it's so biased. Sorry, you can't utilize the government to accuse an incoming president of something they didn't do. Trump did not work with another country. This was, of course, the most vapid, the most overt attempt at dealing with. They were mortified. They were just embarrassed. They had to deal with their devastating loss in 2016. What they did was, they didn't say, oh, okay, we cheated Bernie Sanders, we elevated Trump, none of those things. They said, oh, the Kremlin, Russia interfered in 2016. Nobody asked what the interference was, which was, of course, the DNC emails showing that they actually cheated Bernie Sanders. But just like the Hunter story, the actual corruption of the Democratic Party. If you know that, it's a plot by another country. Anyway, give me your thoughts below. CNN is backing Trump.